When defining comparative advantage, you must choose two different people, or in this case countries, that are willing to trade with each other. In this example, we're going to use China and the United States. Next, you choose two different items that these countries will trade with each other and the amounts they're going to produce of each item. Let's say they both produce coffee and tea. After picking these two items, you need to create two different graphs, one for each country, and plot the two goods on the X and Y axis. Now that we have our two graphs up here, let's plot coffee on the X-axis and then tea on the Y-axis. When plotting these items on each axis, you must also include the value that they can produce if they specialize in producing each good.
The term specialization and finding comparative advantage is defined as the division of tasks at which each individual is comparatively better at in order to make gains from trading with one another. So let's say that if the US specializes in producing coffee, that they can produce 150 coffees. And if they specialize in producing tea, they can produce 75 teas. Now, let's also say that if China specializes in producing coffee, they can produce 50 coffees. And if they specialize in producing tea, they can make 100 teas. From these amounts, we already have 2 points plotted on each graph, and we can connect them with a linear line. This line that connects the 2 points on each graph is called the production possibilities frontier. The production possibilities frontier gives the different amounts of each good that both the US and China can produce. A linear production possibilities frontier is also representative of a constant opportunity cost. From the information that we have in both graphs, we can now put together a table of opportunity costs for each country in producing both coffee and tea. From this table, you can see that for every coffee that the US produces, they give up half of a tea that could be produced. On the other hand, they give up 2 coffees for every tea that they produce. In China's case, they give up 1/2 coffees for every tea that they produce and 2 teas for every 1 coffee that they produce. This means that the US has a comparative advantage in producing coffee because its opportunity cost to produce it is less than China's. This table also shows that China has the comparative advantage in producing tea. From this information, you can conclude that if the US specializes in producing coffee and China specializes in producing tea, that there are gains from trading with each other.
And this is our example of comparative advantage.